Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So, based on the title, you can pretty much figure out what this one's going to be talking about, and kind of an interesting story. Not a complicated story because there's not really a lot of moving parts or components to it. It's fairly straightforward, but I do think it's kind of interesting in the sense that it kind of sets the groundwork for kind of a unique dynamic in the sports card landscape. Or if you want to consider, wrestling not to be a sport, then fine, non-sports landscape. Regardless, from a licensing perspective, there is something interesting that has taken place here that kind of creates a unique dynamic. So let's get right into it and kind of consider this for a moment and think about it. And then we'll get into not so much downstream impact because we really don't know. There's still a lot of time between the time it really kicks in, but it's still going to create this weird dynamic in the meantime. So basically what it comes down to is that announced here is that Panini America and WWE announced a multi-year partnership deal. So right here in the article from Sports Collectors Daily, they do reference 5 months ago Panini had announced it with snaring the license from Topps. But now this current article, if you look at it, it's Fanatics adds WWE. So how the heck does that work? Well, in all honesty, it didn't circumvent the other one, and that's why I say it's going to be a bit of a unique dynamic, but we'll get into that in a second. So it just says here, early Monday, Fanatics announced it would be adding wrestling to its set of licenses. So as you can kind of imagine, this isn't unusual because obviously Fanatics was very forceful entering into the market, taking the baseball license before they had acquired Topps. So in that sense, they had kind of for the moment, ended Topps's potential run, given that when Topps's license was going to run out, then Fanatics was going to take over and do whatever it wanted with it. Obviously, the acquisition of Topps took care of that, so the Topps is going to be remaining the incumbent. The brand is going to continue, but under the Fanatics banner. But in this case, Fanatics isn't buying another brand; they're actually acquiring the license. However, the license that WWE had just signed with Panini is still in effect, so that kind of creates, again, like I said, this weird dynamic. So anyway, so basically here it says part of a larger long-term deal struck that would include e-commerce and licensed merchandise as well as digital and NFT collectibles. I'm not going to dwell on the latter portion, but that is kind of an interesting thing. They do make a couple of points here. This is very straight, very high-level stuff just because the acquisition has just been announced and there isn't a lot to discuss yet. But the thing is that the Panini license with WWE is a multi-year deal. So that's why I say this is going to create a bit of a unique dynamic. And kind of playing into the point from this first line, let me click on this other tab here. So this is from Beckett here, and I'll include links to all of this in the description as I usually do. But this is when Panini landed the Topps trading card license and it was discussed. This was only months ago. This was not that long ago. So initially, it was WWE and Topps, and they were going to have a multi-year agreement, which they still do technically. And Topps had held the WWE license since 2005, and then Panini was going to take it over for a couple of years. Fleer and Comic Images, for those of you who remember in the 90s, previously had it prior to that. But here's the thing. As a result of this turn of events here, what you have is a situation where, and I want you to really think about this, and this is the reason I say it's a bit unprecedented, it's a bit unusual, this whole scenario and this breakdown, is that you got a situation where Panini acquired the license to WWE product and the license. But that said, they hadn't even released a product yet. The first product of WWE under Panini is going to be WWE Prism. Well, WWE Prism is slated to come out at WrestleMania, which is going to be in basically a couple of weeks. I think it's a week Sunday or a week Saturday. So we're getting closer, like we're almost there, but we're actually still not there. We haven't even released the first product. And WWE Topps Chrome, I think, Topps Finest, I think was the last WWE product. That released not that long ago. So you've got this last Topps product, quote unquote, and then you've got the first Panini product not even out the door yet, not even into people's hands yet. And now you've got this announcement effectively making Panini a lame duck licensee for WWE. That's why I say this is unusual. This was almost the most insulting time that Fanatics could have had this announced. Is that, oh, by the way, I hope you guys enjoy the next couple of years of Panini stuff because it's not going to last that much longer. We're going to have it right after. So then the question becomes, do they acquire a sub license from Panini in the interim to just take it over ahead of time and just continue it forward? Do they buy Panini? I don't know if they would actually buy Panini, to be honest with you. Maybe the sports card arm of it, but it basically it's a power play. It really is. It's basically saying like, you're a lame duck and you haven't even started. I was listening to an episode of Stacking Slabs, and Brett McGrath on there was actually interviewing the product manager from Panini, who was talking about finding out about the license and giving some information. I recommend that you check that out. But it's this shocking, like I said, turn of events, given that, you've got Panini making these plans now for the next couple of years of products, and already they've been completely undercut and the product hasn't even come out. So now the question, here's the market related question. So you've got a lame duck. If you're Panini, how do you respond to this? You're obviously going to release the Prism product. That's already been, that's done, that's printed. But then how does this adjust your planning for future products, knowing that you are going to be a lame duck, or that you may sell the license or do something with it in order to, get something out of this? And in the same vein, what's Fanatics' next play in regards to this? Do they make a play for that license or try to find a way to get, start making WWE stuff early? WWE obviously was willing to do this deal and do this long-term association. So it creates this weird dynamic. Like I said, it's the first that I can think of where you've got a licensee that flip-flops so fast to the point that one just finished, the other one is just about to get started, and already we know that the current license is about to run out. And as soon as it does, it flips right back over. It's like it was with Topps, then it was with Panini, and then it'll be back to Topps before you know it, before the blink of an eye. And from a secondary market perspective, then what happens to the Panini products in between? Do they just print a ton of it in order to kind of try to get some money out of it? Do they keep it a little bit short printed? How do they play that? How does the market respond to it? Because some of the top stuff was starting to go up a little bit, obviously, as the new product was going to come out, and which could have injected some excitement and life into that market a little bit more, even though it was already kind of heating up. So does this continue that, or does this kind of put a little cold water on that? And that's what I mean. Like it's almost bizarre to try to figure out. So how does the market react to this? Because it's not the kind of news you expect. Even the situation, like I said, when Fanatics announced that it acquired the baseball licenses, Topps had been the incumbent for years and years and years. They had been able to establish themselves. For 70 years, they had been producing baseball cards. So it was concerning to see for a lot of collectors to see what the future would hold, but at least they had had a long run. In this case, Panini literally just got out of the gate with this license, and already now they've been, cut off at the knees. So that's why I think this thing is actually kind of an interesting topic. But at the same time, it's something we'll need to think about some more and really get down to kind of what this could potentially mean, and also what Fanatics may have in store for what comes next. Because I feel like this is only the first shoe to drop. If they're going to do this kind of a move, do they just sit around waiting for the license to expire and flip over, or do they make a move to do something ahead of time? So anyway, just kind of leaving it open if you have any thoughts or comments on this. Do you think they might pull a power play like this in something else? Obviously, Upper Deck is still out there. I think there would be some complications in trying to make a play for it, but Upper Deck has the other wrestling license in AEW. Would it be interesting for them to do that and completely consolidate a lot of the market? Does Panini take this as the first step of maybe getting out of the trading card game? Do they move on to their other businesses, or do they stay steadfast and fight and compete in the meantime and take advantage of the fact that they do still have the license for a while, and Panini and Fanatics can't start printing WWE cards for a couple more years at least? So there's a lot of different directions and angles this can take. This is one of those things that there's not too much you can add, because even from an analysis standpoint, there's too many moving parts. But I think it's extremely interesting. And like I said, for me, the interesting part is how unusual this arrangement is and this bizarre kind of convergence of these things. So you had a last Topps product, a first Panini product that hasn't even come out yet, and then potentially more Topps products down the road, which is what you'd expect. And then how does this all affect the secondary market around all of this stuff as we go forward? So a couple of things to chew on. That'll be it for this time around. More videos coming up on the channel. Live stream on Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And I think there will be some more... and I think there'll be some more related to talking a little bit about this and anything else that happens to come up with. Of course, there were some breaks over the Mint Collective weekend, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit as well. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks very much. We'll catch you in the next one.